until about 8 o'clock last night. I had no idea what I was going to say. If I had known this many people were going to be here, I might have thought about it a little bit more. I'm sitting up here and filled with some random thoughts. One of them is I need to talk to Dave Harbour about cowboy boots because the secretary is from Colorado. I don't know how many of you noticed what his footwear was Tuesday, but that's his footwear every day. And some of the other senior folks in the department are also wearing cowboy boots. So I think I need a Stetson and boots, and maybe Dave can help out a little bit with that. I'm also struck by the fact that I'm kind of a small town guy. Lived in Juneau and considered Juneau my home for about 49 years. And so Washington, D.C. is kind of a big city experience that my wife and I are both looking forward to. And one of the things that we're looking forward to is wolf trap. And I'm a little bit surprised and flattered that this many people showed up paying this much for breakfast, because I will tell you that I'm a big fan of John Prine and Emmylou Harris, and they're both going to be at Wolf Trap, and I think tickets for the lawn at that concert are like $15 or $16. If you guys are paying this much to come and listen to me, I appreciate it. I told Carl when Carl called that I'm not here to make news. I've been in elective office for 19 years. And the rule there is that the principal always gets to announce the good news. And the principal has been here and is now gone. And he announced no news. I mean, he was here on a listening tour. And those of us who are not the principal, we get to announce the bad news. Well, the good news is I have no bad news for you today. But I'm going to try my best to avoid making news, because I think the first message that I want to give is that the department isn't prepared to make news right now. I think the message that you probably got from the secretary as he was in Alaska for his first official visit was that he wants to work with a whole bunch of different constituency groups, and there is going to be a process that is fairly rigidly followed before you start making decisions that are going to affect not just the future of our great state, but the future of the department's, how the department mission is fulfilled in the other states as well. I see people. I'm going to, in the back, wave if you're having a tough time here. I think that for me to suggest or you to presume that you're going to walk away and know what the next 4 years are like is probably unrealistic. I've been in my perch now for about a month. The secretary has been on the job for 74, 75 days now. We don't have the complete team put together yet. So this morning I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about what my initial impressions have been and what the recipe might be as we move forward. The next part of my speech was I was going to talk a little bit about my background. Unfortunately, as I was introduced, somebody did it for me. And it sounds like I can't hold a job, doesn't it? I mean, you go through it, and that's one of the wonderful things about Alaska. I actually presented here a couple of decades ago in my capacity as executive director of the Alaska Seafood Marketing Institute. And unfortunately, this is the first time I've been back, so I look forward to coming back several times in the near future. Anyway, you talked about kind of the old me as I was introduced. And the new me is, I'm the new Drew Pierce. It's the way I have been telling my friends and my family and my neighbors in Juneau. And it's the way I'm describing myself to people in the department, most of whom have worked with Drew over a long period of time. And they immediately know what that's like, and they immediately, I think better of me. We'll see how long that lasts. I guess, how many of you were at the meeting on Tuesday? Raise your hand. Okay, I'm not going to tell you then an awful lot about how you can expect the secretary to operate, because I think you got a very good glimpse of his, the way he operates, his modus operandi. He is, he's thoughtful. He is, I think, very considerate of all of the different constituencies. But what you might not have noticed is he's also, he's got a backbone of steel. He, as we set this trip up, he absolutely insisted that he did not want to just come to Anchorage and see the inside of the convention center. His first suggestion was, well, I'll come up and I'll get there mid-afternoon on Monday, and let's go to the North Slope. We talked him out of that. My suggestion, frankly, was, you know, with the volcano, you might not want to be flying around a lot. You don't want to get stuck someplace, miss the meeting, miss the next meeting in California, which is happening today. You know, the safest thing to do is to come to Anchorage, meet with a few of the constituency groups, and then do the meeting. He didn't go for it. His message was, no, I want to see, you know, something other than the convention center. So he got up 4 in the morning Colorado time, 2 in the morning our time. Got on a plane, flew to Seattle, flew to Anchorage, got off the plane in Anchorage, got on a charter plane that went to Dillingham, held a town hall meeting in Dillingham, flew out over the bay, came back, and got to bed about 10 or 11 o'clock that night. And he got up early the next morning, had a meeting with former governor, former secretary, Wally Hickel, at 7:30 in the morning, and then began the meeting. I was exhausted. I was feeling old. He was energized. And he is bringing, I think, that kind of energy to the department, and the rest of us are going to have to struggle to keep up. I think, too, that he understands the role and the mission of the department in Alaska, and that's the reason one of his first trips was to the state. I don't have to tell you, because you deal with the department day in and day out on many different levels, on many different issues. And so I may be redundant when I just point out that 52% of the land in the state is managed by the department. When you add up national parks, refuges, BLM land, you know what it means to be a land manager. And you know that every decision the department makes is intertwined with decisions that you have to make for your business and for public servants that are here in the office, for the mission that we have to protect kind of what the assets we have, but also to make sure that the assets that the state have can be part of our economic future here in Alaska. And I don't think that I need to mention to you or list for you what some of those decisions are going to be. OCS was the reason he came here. OCS is a big part of what the department is going to have to grapple with